The greatest threat to businesses today isn't the outsider trying to get in. It's the people you trust, the ones who already have the keys, your employees, your contractors, and privileged users. 60% of online attacks are carried out by insiders. To stop these insider threats, you need to see what users are doing before an incident occurs. Observit combats insider threats by detecting risk activity, investigating in minutes, effectively responding, and stopping data lost. Give it a test drive at observit.com/securityweekly. Today's determined attackers easily bypass even the most advanced network defenses. Trying to ramp up staff to detect their backdoors can cost thousands of dollars and take months, even years. With Active Countermeasures AI Hunter, we enable junior analysts to detect even the most advanced backdoors in a matter of hours. Sign up for a demo and purchase our product today by visiting activecountermeasures.com/ESW. Active Countermeasures. Make every analyst a hunter. Welcome back, everyone, to Enterprise Security Weekly. This is the Enterprise Security News for this week. A note on our previous segment, our interview with Mike from Observit. Observit's landing page as where we want you to go. If you like what you heard, you can go to observit.com/securityweekly. That's the page you go to. I really like there. I would call it, John and I were talking during the break, it's an insider threat solution. I think it's pretty awesome. We've been working with those folks for a while. They're doing fantastic as a company, too. The latest reports came in, and I put a link in the show notes. So observit.com/securityweekly. Alrighty, our first story, John, is from Mimecast. I really think Mimecast's position in the market today is they want to be like that one-stop shopping for all things email security. And through a lot of their strategic acquisitions they've made and the positioning of their products in the market, they can not just detect phishing attempts, but also integrate that training that, like, for example, when a user succumbs to a phishing attack, they go, oh, bad user. Now just go do some training and try and get educated so that doesn't happen again. For October, Cybersecurity Awareness Month, they are giving away some of that training for free.
Well, and one, that's just great marketing. But two, actually coupling, kind of email technical security with user awareness is a good play. And I honestly don't know why more people haven't done that before. Like, it just seems like it was a good idea that many organizations should have been doing for a very long time.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of partnerships that formed in this space. Like, one would do the detection, one would do the training. And they'd all partner with each other. Mimecast is growing large enough where they can just acquire some of these companies. You have seen some acquisitions happen in this space as well. I think KnowBe4 picked up a couple of, well, they're more on the training side.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And they're doing great. KnowBe4 is doing great. But I think that with what's going on with Mimecast is there's kind of a mantra in security, not just in security, but in business, is if you have a certain business market vertical that you're working in, and then somebody can actually come in and start working on a part that you don't do, then that allows them to start wiggling in on your business.
Yeah.
So by having that total package, it kind of keeps the competition forced out. That's number one. And number two, it also makes them a great wedge company for breaking in and displacing existing technologies.
Yeah, absolutely. Microsoft's killing off the old Skype client and going to the newer, crappier one. I don't know why I put that in there, but I think Skype is horrible. I think
believes it, I'm sure.
We're really liking Zoom. And that seems to be the consensus on many of our calls that we have with existing clients and potential clients. When we mention Zoom, everyone from training companies to security vendors are all like, yeah, we were on something before and it was pretty horrible compared to what we have for Zoom. So Zoom is really, taking the lion's share of the market in that from virtual Skype. Conferencing and taking it from Skype. If you've ever tried to use Skype for business, well, that pretty much says it all. Right. You can try to use it.
And I'm still a huge fan of GoToMeeting.
Oh, I like GoToMeeting, GoToMeeting, not a bad solution, and we're still using that here. I think we're looking at switching all of our kind of going back to our previous point about Mimecast, right? It'd be nice if we could find one home for everything and deal with one vendor rather than multiple.
Yeah.
So
it'd be so much easier, but we're always looking. So no, I honestly don't think that they're going to kill it completely. Microsoft still was releasing patches whenever Eternal Blue lashed out last year. Microsoft never lets anything die, which is kind of a good thing, but it's also kind of their Achilles heel as well.
Sure. Ziften was in the news as entering the UK and Ireland endpoint protection platforms and partnering with Microsoft's ATP specialist Threatscape. What do you think of Ziften and some of their moves lately, John?
I still, with a lot of these vendors, I haven't seen them in any of our tests. They're non-entity. That doesn't mean that the product sucks or that it's bad or anything. It's just I haven't seen it, and it's not really been something that we've encountered. But I still come back to, Paul, we've talked about this almost every single show. Why the hell would anybody get in the endpoint security market right now? It's just impossible.
It's a great point. However, and I've been trying to get more information about Ziften. So if you're listening, I just want to know more. That's all I want to do is know more. I mean, sure, we have sponsors on the show, and there might be a fit, but I visited them at Black Hat. I went to the Ziften booth. They have the best socks out of any other vendor. Sorry,
socks are awesome.
Sorry, Trusted Sec and Dave Kennedy. I get more compliments on my Ziften socks than any other socks out there. They're really cool looking. But I spoke with some of their technical folks, and they started describing what they did. Like their agent can collect net flow and tell you about connections and integrating that back. And so, John, back to your point, like why would anyone get into the endpoint space is because you have to have a real big differentiator. And I started to get hints that they had some really cool technology. And again, I just want to learn more. If you're listening and you work for a vendor,
if you're listening and you have their product, let us know.
Sure,
we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Really, so it's not every vendor, but like I have a list of vendors that I think would be a good fit for us to work with. At the very least, I want our listeners to know about the solutions because I feel like they help people, and I believe that they help people solve problems. And so some of those people on the list are so nice. Like I've been sending out a lot of emails and working with a lot of vendors, and most actually are very nice and very appreciative of it. A lot of them are somewhere in between, and I get it. Like you probably maybe you have no idea what Security Weekly is. Totally fine, I get it. I don't fault you for that. But they work with us, and then there's like the other percentage that either just ignore us or don't even request interest in taking a free briefing. And I'm not reaching out to every single security vendor on the planet, right? We've been doing the show how long? It's episode 109. We talk to our listeners at every single conference that we go to and via email and try and learn about what solutions are best and formulate the ones we want to go after. So if you work for a vendor, pretty likely if you're listening to the show and you have a solution that solves people's problems, that we just have the very like low entry barrier to entry is just do a briefing with us and tell us how your product works. That's really all we want to start.
On the other side, if you're somebody that's listening to the show and you're basically like, I have a product that I absolutely love, please shoot us an email.
Yeah, especially when they're like, you guys have never talked about this awesome product that I use every day in my job and it's kicking ass. Yeah, we want to know about that too.
Well, and there's one product. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Varonis. I just had a call with a customer last week.
Varonis?
They do file security.
Yeah,
Varonis.
Varonis. Yeah, Varonis. Great company. I did a briefing with them actually.
Nothing but amazing things from this one person that was using the product.
Yeah.
They said they turned it on, it integrated, it wasn't hard to work, and they immediately got useful telemetry.
Yep.
So if you have feedback and you have a company that you love, please send it back to us. Now, Paul and I very likely might actually follow up and make sure that you're a real company.
Sure.
And not some fake fronted company that a vendor created. Not that that has ever happened.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying.
We're gonna see. Check. I mean, Domain Tools is a sponsor. We know how old your domain is that you put up there, right? Like,
yeah. We can find that out.
Yeah. We're still practitioners, right? We still do the technical stuff as well, and including analyzing the market. Oh, so I get the V companies confused. So Varonis is that like
Varonis,
data protection. I did meet with Brian. Did a briefing with them at Black Hat. Talked about them on the show before. Great company. Love what they're doing. Let's see. Venafi, I don't remember what they do, to be quite honest with you.
No.
They're another V company.
They're another V.
But
I thought we tapped out at Veracode.
No.
I thought with Veracode
nope, but then there's one more. Veridin. Oh, well, Versec is
Yep.
Versec is awesome. We did an interview with them. Love their technology. Veridin is the in the attack simulation market with Attack IQ and others.
Don't forget there's Veridesk, which allows for adjustable height.
Oh, yes. That's important. Venafi is machine identity protection. Don't know what that means, but it sounds cool, I think. I don't know. Maybe we should do a briefing with them.
We'll take it. We'll take it. It's all cool.
All right. So what else do we have in the news? Tanium. Speaking of endpoints, I thought it was. I don't know. Tanium took another $200 million in funding at a $6.5 billion valuation. I mean, at what point are they going to tip the and just go public? Would be their likely exit? They're probably at a $6.5 billion. Like, who's going to buy an endpoint? Who's going to buy an endpoint company at a $6.5 billion valuation? Like, really?
Is that a Series Z funding at that point? I don't have the show notes.
I don't know what their series. Yeah, their series is off the charts. And I'm not saying Tanium has bad technology. I'm just analyzing the business aspect of it. Hopefully, if you're a Tanium customer, you're happy. I think they made a big splash a couple of years ago, and haven't heard much about Tanium recently.
Well, they're kind of becoming one of the companies that's ingrained in a large amount of our customers, and most of our customers have good things to say. I mean, if you have a question about your network, that's the product to use. Now, making the leap and actually starting to do what Carbon Black does, that's a little bit more of a trick.
Yep. LogRhythm receives a patent for data monitoring. I didn't really read this one. I just kind of an announcement. I just think it's interesting when security vendors get patents, and they're sometimes really interesting to read. Other times they are not very interesting to read.
What's this one?
Really cool. It's patent 10,091,217. The LogRhythm, acknowledging it as a creator of data monitoring methods that enable risk-based classification of data, a critical component necessary to enable security operation centers. Pretty cool. Now, you'll also have to, as John and I have experienced as well, right? Not all patents are the same level of defensibility, I would say. Is that an accurate statement?
That's an absolutely accurate statement.
And I think, I always come back to the Tenable patent on the passive vulnerability analysis. And
that's defendable.
The more I talk with people, they're like, no, that one's actually really defendable, which is pretty awesome. Tufin launches a pay-per-use MSSP program. I thought that was interesting.
Seems interesting.
I mean, right in the title, kind of gives you an indication. It's a consumption-based partner model to allow its MSSP network to automate policy changes and provide more cost-effective service to their customers. I think in a policy change environment, like if you're paying per the amount of policy changes that you have to the MSSP, that could be a pretty cool thing.
Well,
the model's certainly different, right?
It is different. You'd have to look at how they actually benefit from that financially.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they figured it out because they've got to be smart people, and maybe a new billing approach and the way that we're approaching things right now is desperately needed in the MSSP space. Something needs to change. There's no question there.
Now, this next one's interesting. Have you heard of Morphosec before?
No, I have not.
I've heard of them. I don't pretend to understand in any detail what they do. They claim to be the leader in moving target defense. I've not heard.
Like bring your own device, or
I don't know. I've not heard of that particular messaging before, which is it's dangerous. I'm not going to say it's bad. I'm going to say it's risky to create your own category or like problem statement like that, because basically they're saying we're moving target defense. Well, what is moving target defense? Well, right.
And it's going to be a long time before Gartner ever gets around to creating a magic quadrant for that.
Well, yeah, and Gartner's going to define its own categories, right?
Yeah, and they kind of intentionally move away from people trying to market their own phrases too.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, weird. Morphosec products could be awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, John. We're just stepping.
I was just going to say, someone's going to put a GIF loop of me saying, I agree with Gartner. But Gartner doing that is something I would agree with. Moving away from something that's already been defined by a vendor is just a bad... You step away from the vendor terms.
Yeah, I mean, we've done segments on category creation before. Play Bigger is the book you should read about category creation, and does obviously the best job of defining how you define your category, essentially with great examples. So again, Morphosec could have a great product. Likely they got something because their endpoint threat prevention platform is now being integrated with RSA NetWitness. So I mean, anytime you see big partnerships like that, they do something.
It's
they do
easy
something
for
good.
A vendor to say, "Hey, We now integrate, which means that they throw syslog.
True.
I know we joke about that all the time, but that seems to be by and large what they do.
All integrations are not created equal, is what I learned very early on when I started getting heavily into vendors, right?
Well, and I'm also guilty of that too, Paul. Like when we're on sales calls, people are like, do you have an open API? I'm like, yeah, it's a backend Mongo database that's authenticated, so you can make your own queries. They're like, oh, great, so it has an API. I'm like, well, that's, you know what? Yeah, sure. Just go with it, I guess.
Yeah. I've been seeing BlackBerry more and more.
Dude, they're coming back.
They are. They're trying to come back.
They're coming back.
They are. They actually they were interested in what we do to help them on some, marketing thing. I was like, BlackBerry. I'm like, wow, that's kind of interesting. So, I mean, the fact that like if we
check to see,
when you see,
have to check to see if it's a different company that bought their name.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, anytime you see that outward, outbound public relations reach, it means they're, in this case, could be trying to pivot and reinvent themselves, which then triggers, well, how do we get the word out that we're doing something different? And now seeing this article from investing.com, well, now I'm not sure what those three things are. They want to. So their strategy is to focus on rapidly expanding Internet of Things. They are positioned apparently in the IoT space. So the trend is evident. BlackBerry reported a 32% year-over-year growth in its enterprise channels, which is kind of interesting. I don't know where that revenue is coming from if they're not making phones. They're doing IoT stuff, I guess.
Well, but the thing with BlackBerry that sucks is they should have won in the corporate space.
Mm-hmm.
They had a huge head start on everybody else. Just the iPhone was cool. It's just, God damn, we really needed a company like BlackBerry to put in, provisioning of enterprise level email on mobile devices. And I think security as a whole hurt because they crashed and burned, and Apple and Android were like, screw that. If BlackBerry burned, then there's no need for that enterprise level integration and security. And it just never came back.
Oh, so in the IoT market, the BlackBerry owns the QNX platform, and they're applying that to autonomous driving technology. QNX is an embedded operating system. And they've embedded it in over 120 million vehicles worldwide. It's pretty cool.
So why do you think that their stock is going to take off? I mean, if they're still doing some things you talked about at the beginning of the show, you think that they're going to take off a little bit more. What have you seen that makes you think that? That's what the article said. And if they are reporting a 32% year-over-year growth, and they're breaking into using their existing technology to break into new markets such as IoT and automotive, that could be why the market's predicting that their stock's gonna go up. I also think there's some type of security play in there. I haven't been able to uncover exactly what that is. I also just think it's fun to talk about BlackBerry. It gets people's attention because they're like, "What?" Yesterday about.
They're like, "Did I download the right episode? Is this episode from 10 years ago?"
Yep.
Oh. Boy. All right. Well, that was it. One of the stories in there was a duplicate. Again, slow news week. It was slow news week for Hack Naked News too. There will be no Paul Security Weekly this week, as tomorrow most of us head out to DerbyCon.
Woohoo!
Which will be awesome. John, are you speaking?
Did you get a table?
I do. We are selling T-shirts and other things at DerbyCon. We're doing some interviews and briefings at DerbyCon. I'm speaking. John, are you speaking as well?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Awesome. What are you speaking about?
So Hacks for Pancakes, Ed Scotus, and Dave and I are doing a keynote panel discussion on the future of pen testing. So really excited about that. Also, we're staying down at the Galt House. Is that where you're staying? You're staying at the main hotel?
I am one of the few that got a room at the Marriott.
You're so lucky.
I am.
Lucky you.
It was luck.
I like sleeping at night, and when that party gets a rockin', oh my God. So
that could be. I got earplugs.
Good time.
It's fine.
It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Week.
I'm talking about security and hip hop. It's a sequel.
Two of your favorite topics.
It's a sequel.
Security, hip hop, and kung fu.
Yeah, it's a sequel to the kung fu talk. So set your expectations accordingly, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, John, thank you. And thank you, everyone, for listening and watching Enterprise Security Weekly. We'll see you next time.